The greatest show on dirt returns to the Valley. Decker goes back-to-back at Glen Ridge. We take the white flag with the second-generation driver that has picked up wins just about everywhere. Someone better call Kenny Loggins because we're on the highway to the danger zone. Race Pro Weekly starts now. Hello and welcome to another edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. With the World of Outlaws making their way in 2014 to Lebanon Valley, it would mark the final time that 20-time World of Outlaw champion Steve Kinser would grace us at the Valley of Speed. Would he be able to walk away with a victory? The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws, making its way into the Lebanon Valley Speedway, and it would be Kerry Madsen leading the field to the green in the number 29 machine as he would get the jump. Brad Sweet would be on the move early as he looked to get to the inside of David Gravel. Darren Pittman would also be on the move as the defending series champion would try to run down the 71 of Joey Saldana. Meanwhile, we'd have trouble early in the event for the 11 of Steve Kinser as he would slow off at turn number 2. He would make his way into the work area where he would get back out on the speedway, but have to start at the tail end. Off of the restart, David Gravel would get a great jump as he would slide ahead of Madsen to grab the race lead. Kinser will be back up on the move in that bad boy buggies, car number 11, but the caution will come out again for the 1Z of Jessica Zemkin, and that would re-rack the field. Off the restart, Kerry Madsen would get the jump. However, a lot of trouble behind him, which would involve the King. King Kinser would flip the car and land on his side. But ready for this one, folks, miraculously would get it back out onto the speedway and try to finish this race out. Next restart would be single file, and David Gravel would have the advantage once again as he would lead him up into the east end of the speedway. Cars would be on the move as you see Darren Pittman would go to the inside of his teammate Brad Sweet for the number 4 spot. And then Steve Kinser will be on the move again as he would try to get back up and get as many positions as he possibly could. But this was all behind David Gravel, the first one from New England to pick up the win at Lebanon Valley. David Gravel grabs the victory. Kerry Madsen would come home in second. Donnie Schatz third. Darren Pittman fourth. And Brad Sweet would round out the top 5. Eric Mack and Josh Hohenforst would bring the field to the green in the modified feature at the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park as it would be Hohenforst taking the early lead. Bobby Varon on the move in the 85 machine as you see him go underneath Bobby Vetter as Bobby Vetter would try to hold off Jimmy Becker. Meanwhile, Willie Decker would take the lead looking for his second straight win. Meanwhile, also, it would be Varon's right rear getting into Eric Mack's left front, which would send Mack around, which would bring the caution out. Off the restart, Willie Decker would take advantage once again. Bobby Varon right there trying to capitalize on the restart. Rocky Warner in a rare modified appearance at Glen Ridge, also trying to crack his way into the top 5 as Hohenforst and Hansen would race for position, along with veteran Jeff Rockefeller in that 816 machine as they head down the back straightaway. But this was all behind Willie Decker, who would pick up his second straight win at the Ridge. Decker would grab the win. Craig Hansen would finish in second. Bobby Varon third. The Apollo Rocket, Josh Hohenforst fourth. And the Flying Squirrel, Rocky Warner, would round out the top 5. It was the night of stars at the Fonda Speedway as many drivers making their way back as the green flag would come out from the modified feature event with a lot of cars trying to make their way up through the field early. Jeremy Wilder would hang it out on the outside lane trying to make his way up through as Josh Hohenforst would slide through on the outside lane. And here comes Bobby Varon to the inside of Jeremy Wilder. They'll make a little bit of contact with Ed Harris going up into turn number 3 and 4 as he would spin, and the caution will come out up in turn number 1 and 2, and that would be for Harris, stopped in between turn number 3 and 4 in front of the pit entrance. Off of the restart, it would be AJ Romano taking the race lead, but Elmo Reckner shoots out like a rocket down the back straightaway as he would take the race lead away from Romano as he would slide into turn number 3 and 4. Stuart Friesen would be on the move as Alton Palmer would move to the inside of AJ Romano for the number 2 spot as they head down the back straightaway. Cars coming through turn number 3 and 4. That would be Stuart Friesen trying to make his way up as he go to the outside of Bully Bellinger for position. He continued to work on the outside lane of Bellinger as he would get that spot away, and then in no time would go to work on the 17 of Elmo Reckner as he pushed to the outside, and that Tab Park zone number 1 is up towards the front of the field again. And of course, nobody would be stopping Friesen once he gets up there as he picks up another win at the Fonda Speedway. The Canadian sensation does it again. Elmo Reckner would come home in the number 2 spot. Alton Palmer finishing 3rd. Jeremy Wilder 4th. And point leader Bobby Barron would come home in 5th. There's only one place in the Capital Region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there. Over the past couple weeks at Albany-Saratoga, a new streak has made its way into the Speedway with Peter Britton going 2 for 2 over the last 2 weeks. Would it be time for someone to stop this one? Mark Keselowski would lead the field to the green in the 35-lap modified feature at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway. In the early going, Kenny Tremont and Keith Flack on the move, along with the Recovery Sports Grill car number 3D of Matt DiLorenzo. Brett Hearn would also be working the outside in the early going of this event, as he looked like he would be a car to beat once again. Tremont would also follow as he go up through the field, trying to make his way up, as now Brett Wright would put on a battle with Mark Keselowski through lap traffic in the form of the 97 of Chris Vernold. Hearn would break a rocker arm on the Matson overhead doors car number 20, which would end his night. And off of the restart, it would be Keselowski taking the spot once again as Johnny Lutz gets shot up the racetrack. Yellow will come out for Ronnie Johnson and Mike Perotti getting together. Off the restart, Peter Britton would prove he'd be a threat to do something once again as he would go 3 wide up through the racetrack. But Tremont would be the one on the move once again as he would duck to the inside of Brett Wright for the number 2 spot. And it wouldn't be long, as with 5 laps to go, he would get by Mark Keselowski for spot number 1. As the 115 would dig for another victory, Keselowski would come back on the inside lane and get him back, but Tremont just too strong on the outside lane once again, as he would look to be primed to pick up another win. On the final lap, Wright would go to the inside of Keselowski as he would muscle for the number 2 spot, and he'd take it away. Batman Peter Britton would follow, but this was behind Tremont, who would pick up win number 2 on the season. The 115 of Kenny Tremont picking up another victory. Peter Britton would come home in 2nd, Brett Wright 3rd, Mark Keselowski 4th, and Mark Johnson would finish in 5th. Modified feature from Lebanon Valley would see the Kingfish. Mike King leading the field to the green in the early going of this one. As a lot of cars happen to make moves early, you see Brett Hearn to the inside of Andy Bicchetti and Kenny Tremont trying to make his way up as he will go 3 wide with Kyle Hoffman and Kyle Sheldon. Hearn will get by Sheldon and then try to go to work on J.R. Hefner as well. Robbie Pitcher trying to make his way up through the field to the inside of Donnie Corellis. Both Tremont and Hearn will crack the top 10 early in this event, along with J.R. Hefner just lurking right behind him. Then Hearn would continue to follow Tremont up as they would be just outside the top 5, and it would be Hearn getting by Tremont and then going to work on Colby Schroeder. Hearn would get by Marshall now, and he would set his sights on the top 3 that were right in front of him. It would take him a while to get by the 11A of Kyle Armstrong, but finally he would find the right move to the inside lane as he would just sneak by the Newtown Pools car number 11A off of the corner. Then he'd go to work on Guy Sheldon for 2nd. He would get him off at turn number 2. And do you really think Brett Hearn was done there? Absolutely not, as with 4 laps to go, he would push to the inside of Mike King for the race lead and power it off at turn number 2, and he would be your new race leader, and nothing was stopping the Jersey Jet as Brett Hearn would pick up the win. The Jersey Jet grabs win number 3 in 2014. Mike King would come home in 2nd. The Hollywood guy, Guy Sheldon, finishing 3rd, Kyle Armstrong 4th, and Eddie Marshall would finish in 5th. CRSA Sprints on hand at Glen Ridge as they would give the 4 wide salute to the fans, as it would be Josh Panisic bringing the field to the green in their feature event as they head up into turn number 1 and 2 at lightning speeds, as Joe Cata would go around up in turn number 1 and 2, and that would bring a lot of cars getting caught up in turn number 4 as that would bring out the caution. Off of the restart, it would be Panisic taking the lead once again, but cars on the move, Corey Sparks and Danny Varon as they try to make their way up. Danny Varon will push to the inside and take the number 3 spot away. So he would then slide up to the outside. Corey Sparks still trying to get through as well. Scott Goodrich involved as they're all trying to make their way up. Then Corey Sparks with an inside move on Danny Varon as he would take the number 2 spot away, but Varon would come back and then go to work on Josh Panisic for the number 1 spot. They go up into turn number 1 and 2. Varon would slide in front of Panisic for the race lead as they head down the back straightaway. He'd have to fight through lap traffic multiple times. They make his way up through, but it would be all she wrote as it was Varon time once again at the Ridge. Danny Varon would take home the victory. Corey Sparks would finish in second, Josh Panizek third, Bob Gray fourth, and Scott Goodrich would finish in fifth. Other winners on the night, Dave Constantino would grab the win in the Sportsman. Pete Velo would pick up the win in the 4 cylinders. Francis Oliver in the 600 XL Modifieds, and your Vintage Mods winner would go to Daryl Holbert. Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products, race to win. Block Modifieds, the companion event with the World of Outlaws on Sunday night, as it would be Brett Haas and Wayne Jelly leading the field to the green in the 25-lap feature event. Trouble early for the Albany-Saratoga Speedway sponsored car number 25 of Frankie Harper, as he would have to be towed into the pits. Off the restart, Wayne Jelly going to give a great shot to the Mildred Ellie car number 55 of Brett Haas as they go down the back straightaway. Cars on the move, of course, Chad Pierce, Artie Collins, and Brian Sanstead trying to make their way up through the field. Frank Ward the third in there as well, along with the Darcy Construction car number 21 of Ryan Darcy, as they would all try to scramble for position. Artie Collins would be the biggest benefactor as he'd slide into the top 5, getting to the front of the pack of cars. But meanwhile, Jelly in lap traffic trying to catch Brett Haas. He would go up to the top side and lose it a little bit in the cushion, but he'd regain it to keep second. Olden Dwyer and Steve Huff would be on the move as well, but it would be all behind Brett Haas as he would pick up the win on the World of Outlaw night. Brett the Threat picks up the victory. Wayne Jelly would come home in the number 2 spot. Alan Hotailing third, Jason Harrington fourth, and Artie Collins would finish in fifth. Danny Wood would be your pole sitter in the 25-lap Pro Stock feature event at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway, as he would take the early race lead. Some close quarter racing between Byron Westcott, Jeff Washburn, and Bernie Companion in the early going of this one, as it would be Bill Smith getting to the lead very quickly in this event, as Kim Duell would be on the move as well, as he would look to go by Brandon Amy for the number 2 spot on the inside. Cars on the move as Bernie Companion would get out of shape, and that would collect the 21S of Dave DePaulo up in turn number 1 and 2, which would bring out the caution. Off of the restart, Brandon Amy with a great jump once again, as you see Rob Yetman and Kenny Martin trying to go to work. And here comes Duell making a bid to the inside of Amy once again on the inside lane as they come through turn number 1 and 2. He would get by him and then go to work on Bill Smith, and then Kim Duell would waste no time as he would be your race leader as they head down the back straightaway. Smith would come back on the outside lane trying to push the momentum. Westcott right there as well trying to get into the number 2 spot, but the 14 of Duell would take the lead outright, and then it would be Westcott following, but he was a ways behind the 14 of Kim Duell for the time being. Washburn and Older make contact through turn number 4, which would bring out the caution once again, as many of the heavy hitters just getting by it on the outside lane, and that would put Westcott on Duell's back bumper with just about 5 to go. Westcott would have many chances to get by the Lazaro's Auto Body car number 14 machine, but there would be no stopping Kim Duell as he would pick up the win. Kim Duell grabs win number 2 of the 2014 season. Byron Westcott will come home second. Bill Smith third. Brandon Amy fourth. And the Melonville Missile, Robbie Speed, fifth. Other winners on the night at the Great Race Place would be Mike Ostrander in the Sportsman. Limited Sportsman would go to Rob Maxson, and the Street Stock would go to Bill Dupree for the second straight week. 20-lap Sportsman feature at Lebanon Valley would be led to the green by the 14 of John Virgilio as they make their way up into the east end for the first time. Cars would get together, however, up in turn number 1 and 2 as the caution will come out on the speedway. You see Anthony Alger, Zach Del Rio, Bobby Knipe also involved in there, and people not very happy on that one, let's put it that way. Off of the restart, cars bunched together. You see Ray Hall, Jeff Watson, and Matt Papa trying to get out of a group. As they come off the corner, contact would be made by Todd Lane and Rob Maxson. His Lane would slam off the outside wall on the front stretch as that would bring out the caution once again. Chris Lynch would also be involved, so he would have to be towed into the pit area. Timothy Davis would get a little out of shape off of the restart, but he tried to gather it back together once again, and then Whitey Slavin would go for a spin up in turn number 3 and 4 as that would bring out the yellow. Off of that restart, Cody Oakes would get to the outside lane in what was in a caution-infested event as he would hit the outside wall. Meanwhile, once we got clean and green and going, it would be Virgilio and Hall up towards the front of the field as they would start to put on a great battle up front. Hall would go to the inside. Virgilio just a little bit too strong in that number 14 machine as he would keep the race lead. And Hall would make another bid for him on the inside lane. Here as time was running out, Hall would try to switch to the outside lane. Couldn't do anything. Matt Pappa would slide into the top 5 as he get into the inside of Jeff Watson. Meanwhile, on the final lap, Hall going to try to switch high to try to find some momentum, but would run out of time as John Virgilio would pick up the win in the Sportsman division. Virgilio would grab the win. Ray Hall Jr. would finish in second. Peter Carlotto third. Cody Hunt with a great run, finishing in fourth. And Jeff Watson would be fifth. Other winners on the night, Chuck Towsley would pick up the win in the Pro Stocks, and the 3 Pure Stock winners on the night would be Hunter Sanchez, Dan Cody, and Jeff Meltz Sr. Neil Kosman would bring the field to the green in the 15-lap street stock feature event. He'd make contact along with Johnny Young, putting them both into the infield as they would get it regrouped back together, but it would be the 17 of Dave Horning Sr. with the race lead in the early going with John Brott and Jason Samaroff right behind him. Meanwhile, it will be Samaroff and Brott running for position as Brott trying to take the number 2 spot away as they head into turn number 3 and 4. Yellow will come out for the 52C of Kosman, spun on the backstretch, and a little bit more right rear damage than he probably would have liked. Meanwhile, it's going to be Johnny Young on the outside lane trying to push a power move through turn number 3 and 4. He would move to the outside of Dave Horning Sr., and he would take the race lead away in that number 14 machine. Brott will go to the inside of Horning trying to take the number 2 spot. But even though it would be Young taking the checkered flag, post-race inspection would give the win to Dave Horning Sr. John Brott will come home in the number 2 spot. Jason Samaroff would finish in 3rd, Cliff Haslam 4th, and Harold Chatterton would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night in the Sportsman, it would be the Flying Onion, Tony Ferrone. Pete Broderson would grab the win in the Pro Stocks, and the Vintage Modifieds would go to Frankie Blanchard. The Choices 301 program takes a multifaceted approach aimed at educating the public about the realities and dangers of what can happen when bad decisions are made inside a motor vehicle. Don't hesitate to designate.
Back behind the wheel of a modified tonight. What's it feel like to be back in the modifieds?
Oh, good. I mean, when you drive for these guys, they got such good stuff. Benny's learned on this whole 4-star team, so it's exciting. We just need to get a little bit better, hopefully put on a show in the future.
How long does it take you to get back on track with these modifieds? How many laps does it take before you feel back home?
I feel comfortable. If we're not right with the program, I tend to struggle to help them. That's the biggest issue, is I just don't run week to week to know the trends of what happens in this division as much as I used to, so I rely on them, and sometimes by the time we figure it out, it's later than you want it to be, but we'll keep digging hard. That's all we can do.
You're on the World Outlaw Late Model Tour. What's your season been like so far?
It's been okay. We had some peaks and some valleys, and we're hanging tough. We got a lot better since Florida, which is good, and we're starting to get more consistent team in the top 6 or 7, so hopefully we can get some more wins and keep digging.
How tough is it to be on the road all the time with the Outlaws?
It's tough. I mean, we've had help, we've lost some help and gained some help, and we might lose another guy, and I'm getting ready to go out west here tomorrow for a month, 4 weeks plus, and right now it's me and our truck driver, so it's it's tough. It's not as easy as people want to believe it is, so like I said, it's going to be hard when I got a truck driver's a great guy, but he's never really worked on race cars than myself, so we'll see what we can do.
How different are the World Outlaw late models from these dirt modifieds?
I mean, when you get them right, they all kind of handle the same. It's just that they just take different steps you just do different things. They're all coils and they got A-frames. There's just a lot of different things you do to make them work that you try to transfer, but you don't always know over to these cars and vice versa, and it's just a matter of getting me comfortable. Just like, you get a good driver and you put him in a car and he's comfortable, he's going to go fast, and that's what we try to do no matter what I drive.
It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week, and with picking up 2 straight wins at the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park, this week it will go to Willie Decker. Decker is now eligible for the Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online, www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So for myself, Matt Knowles, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, Dave Del Sandro, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together. Thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.